Okay, Ms. Williams, it's yours. It's on you.
Okay. All right. The time is now 4:34 and we're gonna start our rescheduled Go Team meeting. First we're gonna start with call to order and a roll call. Jovan Miles, Kristen Owens, Latoria Wiggins, Erica Luckett, Allison Tolman. Allison Tolman.
Here, I'm sorry, trying to get here.
It's okay. Denise Williams is here. Jeanette Lovelace.
Here.
All right. We do not have a quorum, but we aren't making any decisions. Next thing on our agenda is approval of today's meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I need someone to I make a motion to accept the agenda for today's meeting, and I just need someone to second that motion.
I make a motion to accept the agenda for today's meeting.
And someone to second it.
I second it.
All right. Thank you. Then we're going to review our minutes from last meeting. Well, excuse me. Can you guys see the minutes from our previous meeting on March 17th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can someone make a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
I second it.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move into our next item on our agenda, discussion items, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Nunn.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to share my screen. All right, can you guys actually see this presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna leave it like this since you guys can see it. So what I'm sharing with you guys right now is what was shared with our parents on our March 26th GMAS parent overview night. So I'm just going to quickly go through what was shared during that actual presentation, and then we can have, if there's any questions, you can let me know at that time. So the first thing that I went over what is the actual GMAS assessment. And here it states the Georgia Milestones Assessment System is a comprehensive assessment system going from grades 3rd through high school. We test all students in grades 3rd through 5th here at Slater. And it measures how well the students have learned in their knowledge and skills based on the state adoptive content standards in English language arts, mathematics, and for 5th grade only science. We no longer have an elementary level test in social studies. So once we went through that, I went through the dates of the GMAS assessment. As you can see right here, these are the dates that GMAS will be taking place. We begin on Monday, April 27th, and that's for 3rd through 5th grade, and they test that entire first week. Each GMAS subject has its own section. In the past, we've done more than one part in a day. Since then, the APS has decided to kind of stretch it out to give students time with their assessment. So we're doing only one part a day, except for that 5th grade science part. As you can see, that will be on that Monday, May 4th. And that parts 1 and 2 will happen on the same day. So all parents who came, they got a copy of this. And we also talked about the makeup days. We really encourage families to make sure the kids were on time, make sure that they were coming and eating breakfast, make sure they got a good night's sleep. Because if they were not here by the time we begin the actual test, they will not be able to test at that main administration. So for example, if a third grade student on Monday came in at 9:15 and we begin the assessment at 9 o'clock, we cannot admit that student into the assessment. So they would then have to go and wait until the makeup session. We do a rolling makeup, but we also have the week of the May through 11th through the 15th to do makeup days. We also talked about the achievement level descriptors, and we call them ALDs. And we talked about where we are striving for our students to score in when they actually take the assessment. I highlighted the proficient learner and distinguished learner categories as the areas that we really want our students to aim for. We really want to make sure that they are scoring proficient and above in those content areas that they're going to be tested in beginning in April. And we also talked about, based on ELA, math, and science, what those proficient categories meant. And they got a copy of that. So for example, they got a copy of what it means for a third grade proficient learner in ELA. What are the skills that those students will be able to do and show when they're actually taking the assessment? So they got that piece of information. We talked about the different test types that students will be taking. I really emphasize that with ELA, we have a new assessment taking place, and it's not going to be the same as it has been in the past. The ELA section has a lot more writing that takes place. Math and science do not have any writing pieces to it. We also talked about the multiple selection, multi-part tests, answer choices that they would have, and letting the parents know that if they have something that's multi-part, that means they have to answer in both parts to get the whole points for the test. If it's multi-select, that means that there's not just one right answer. There might be 2 to 3. We talked about the drop down. We talked about drag and drop scenarios. And we also talked about Experience Online, which is a state produced website where families could go to and they could practice at home, not just at school. So we talked about ways they could practice when they're not in the building with us. Then we talked about the time test. I really emphasize pacing and making sure that, yes, we want students to take their time. However, they have a limit to make sure they have all their answers in. So we talked about that ELA assessment, where there's the writing piece. That's always going to be part 1 of the ELA test. For 3rd and 5th grade, they have 90 minutes to take the assessment. 4th grade only has 50 minutes because their ELA test looks a little bit different than everybody else's. So we were just talking about the difference between the ELA test in 4th grade for writing, which is a peer review assessment, and the ELA part 1 for 3rd and 5th grade, which is what they have seen in the past where they are responding to text. We talked about with the new ELA assessment that there is an audio piece where students are now having to listen to text, not just reading 2 different prompts. We also talked about that the ELA test is not going to be in the past where you either were going to get opinion writing or you're going to get informational writing. What the state has done with the new standards is they really want to make sure they emphasize writing skills. So it's not just based on one particular genre of writing. They want to make sure that students understand what good writing practices all writers have, and they want to see their demonstration of that. Once we finished that part, we went into what's new. Those are the things that I talked about. We talked about that new writing test, and now that it's an 8-point writing rubric. Again, there's no specific genre that they're going to be focusing on. And we just talked about the difference between the 3rd and the 5th grade test and the 4th grade test. We also talked about the math retest for 5th grade. So for the retest, our students, if they are scoring in the beginning category, those these ALD descriptors, any student that's scoring at beginning in 5th grade only, in math only, they will have to take a retest. That retest is going to be taking place May 18th and May 19th, which is the last week of school. So really emphasize to the parents that we really want to make sure that we have as few students scoring in beginning as possible so that they do not have to retake the test. If they score in beginning, Once we get those scores back, we will be reteaching from the time we get the scores back till we take that test again on May 18th. So we wanted to really emphasize, we really want to make sure that the students scored at those other levels so they wouldn't have to be participating in the retest. And after that, I ended the discussion talking about how to prepare for the test, making sure they come to school on time daily, be here by 7:40 so they can get breakfast. They'll have an opportunity to just get their minds right and prepare for the assessment, making sure they got a good night's sleep, good 8 hours, not going to bed at 11 or 12 o'clock at night. It's really going to be helpful for us. I also encourage the parents to sign up for Parent Portal. By signing up for Parent Portal, they're able to see in real time where their students' grades are. And finally, I closed it out with talking about making sure they communicated with the teams. If they have some questions about the student's grade, how they're doing in class, the first point of contact really needs to be those teacher teams, and just really encourage them to make sure they had strong communication with those teacher teams. From that point, parents were allowed to go upstairs, and they had another discussion with the grade level teams on 3rd, 4th, and 5th, where they went more in depth about the content that was covered in the Georgia milestones. And I encourage all of our families to make sure that they check the website. That information is going to be going up on the website this week so that they can get this information and they would always have access to it. Any questions about the Georgia milestones assessment?
No, I'm okay.
All right. Ms. Williams, I can go ahead and go into the next section if you want me to.
Yes, please.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. All right. Did everybody see this PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the next thing I want to talk about is the end of year activities. So we all know that we have field day, and our field day is going to be scheduled for May 14th of this year. That's a school sponsored event, but I really wanted to make sure that our families knew about our end of year awards dates and times. So here we have all the dates and times and locations for the awards day. These are going to be on our website this week. We will have an RSVP. We're going to continue to do what we've done in the past. Due to our limited capacity in the gym, we have to limit our guests to 2 guests per student. And then we have to limit our numbers for the Carver Auditorium as well. We're going to begin on that week of May 18th to the 22nd. We begin with pre-K and kindergarten, which are both on Tuesday, May 19th. These ceremonies will happen in the gym. The following day, Wednesday, May 20th, we have our 1st and 2nd grade awards day ceremonies. On the following day, Thursday, May 21st, our 3rd and 4th grade. And then finally, on Friday, May 22nd, we have our 5th grade award ceremony that will take place at Carver Auditorium. The teacher teams will be reaching out after the spring break to talk about anything as far as needs they may have, what students should be wearing. We know that some families want to try to get an early head start on buying clothes for the ceremonies. We encourage our families to, when they get that communication, to make sure they hold on to it, because the teacher teams will be coming out with that information soon. In addition to that, end of year parties, those are TBD right now. Once we have our meetings with our grade level teams, that information regarding end of year party dates and times will be going out, and I'm quite sure that the grade level teams will be reaching out to families regarding anything that they may need for assistance with those parties. I'm going to go ahead and continue on, Ms. Williams, if you don't mind.
That's
And the
fine.
next thing I'm going to talk about is the school uniform. So we have talked about before the school uniform policy for school year 27, which begins in August of 2026. And here's the flyer that will be going on the website today. So in the fall, we will be requiring uniforms for all students. When we, these are the uniform requirements, and I just blew it up just a little bit more so families can see. For girls, khaki bottoms, they could be, khaki or black bottoms. Pants, skirts, or shorts are acceptable. And then we're asking for polo type shirts, orange, blue, or white. For our boys, same thing, khaki or black bottoms. Pants or shorts are acceptable as well. And shirts are orange, blue, and white. Polo or button-down shirts are allowed for our girls and our boys. We also put some places where you families may want to purchase uniforms. We have Kids World, Amazon, the Children's Place, Old Navy, Walmart. These are some great locations for students for families, if they are trying to find places to purchase uniforms. For shoes, we ask that they just be closed-toed. We have kids, we go outside, on the playground. If we have open-toed shoes, if something gets in those shoes and that could affect their toes and they could get really hurt, we just want to make sure kids are safe. So we're asking for the shoes to be closed-toed. With closed-toed shoes, we're not asking for any particular type of shoe or any colored shoe. We do have a school contact if you should have questions about school uniforms. Miss Qualls, who is our school counselor, and Mr. Wright, who is our opportunity gap specialist. These are our contacts here at the school. If there should be any questions or need assistance with trying to find uniforms. And like I said, this is going on the website today, and it should be up. So if families have any questions about that, they'd be able to get that information. Spring break is coming up. Quick announcement, spring break starts on Monday. Please correct me if I have these dates wrong. I'm gonna look it up one more time. I should know these dates by heart. It's not May, it's actually April 6th through the 10th is spring break for us at the school. So this Friday will be our last day before spring break ends for the month. We asked everybody just to make sure they're being safe, that they are enjoying their time away, and that we will return on April 13th here at the school at our normal time, but the school will be closed April 6th through the 10th, and that spring break flyer is also going to be up on our website for the at the end of this week. As far as RSVP for the end of year awards dates, that is forthcoming. That information will be sent out after spring break. And like I said, we're asking for no more than 2 individuals per student so we can make sure that we're not going over capacity while we're in the gym. And Ms. Williams, that's all I have for the share out today.
Okay, we have no public comment for this meeting, so I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting to 4:52. So,
Second the motion.
all right, thank you. Have a good night, everyone.